first of all. I'm keeping the questions open because there are too many questions to answer. Probably we will talk about the load testing now. Then we will go to the actual questions once again. So I spent almost like last 10 minutes. Okay. So now I will go to the portion of doing a load testing. Right? Now, I'm actually using a tool called Neoload. We are using Neoload. We are a partner to neotest.com. This is called a Neoload. Okay. This Neoload is a tool that can be used for load testing, web applications, and web services. As I said, why should a web service go through load testing? Because, let me open my PowerPoint once again. Web services are independent. Okay, they are independent in nature. Since they are independent in nature, pretty much like we plugged and played the payment gateway, millions of customers can also start using yours. For example, if Facebook opens one web service, thousands of customers build on top of it. So suddenly you will get thousands of requests coming to the web service. Web service as it is not light. It is up to you to make it light or heavy. So what logic you are coding inside the web service makes it light or makes it heavy. Many tools provide ways to test the web services. We use Neoload because we are a Neoload partner, so we use Neoload. If people have some complicated times or logic, that time we can write our own code. SoftSmith has the capability to do load testing of web services independently, right? If it is complicated, we try to use Neoload first because it's quick and easy, because we are a partner to them. So now the reason why we should load test web services is it can be called suddenly by thousands of people because of its independent nature. Now again, I'm coming back to this page. Someone has asked, what is Neoload? Neoload is a load testing tool, okay, which is very similar to Load Runner or Rational Performance Tester. So this is mainly for either you can test regular web service or WCF web service, okay. So you can use this tool because it gives you quicker way to create the scripts, configure, and then run, right? Someone has asked, is Neoload a free tool? No, it's not a free tool. Okay. Now I'm going to demo how we are going to load test a web service. Look here, if I go to this click button, right, you can upload, there is a WSDL file, right? When you upload the WSDL file, you need to know what is the path of this web service. This is the same path where we got it, the browser also. Go to this browser, you could see the browser, right? Localhost 1165, right? Click here. You look at the bottom line, right? The status bar. When I mouse over here, you could see at the bottom. When I mouse over there, you see here, right? If you do this, this is the URL, okay? This is the same URL that we are giving it to Neoload also. The moment you are giving that, he is able to pick up the parameters, the methods and parameters, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is, there is something called edit call parameters. If I click on this edit call parameters, I am choosing add employee details. It says employee code, employee name, salary. Okay, pretty much like your browser displayed the three different things, it also shows the parameters. Now what we did is we are taking it from a CSV file. Okay, we created, there is a CSV file. We parameterize this into different data. Okay, now we are reading it from a file. Okay, there is something called a variables manager. There we have coded this information. So pretty much like you prepare multiple data, because we are going to run multiple users, we are giving just 3 data. Okay, you can add any number of data, right? So if I add another value, I can always say EMP12 and then James salary 7,000. You can add any number of data here. Okay, then you can apply. So this is like you are giving multiple data. So you can choose that parameters also from which file you can give. Then this is very simple, but the purpose is when I do the unit testing, I am the only user accessing the web service. My purpose is if 5 users call the web service at the same time, what will happen? Will it insert records or not? Will it work or not? Simultaneously, if so many people access the web service, what will happen? Are you clear about what I am asking? Can you please raise the hands if this problem statement is clear to you? Good. That means I am load testing a web service. Imagine millions of people pay through credit card just before Christmas in an online portal, and that payment gateway is a web service. How do you ensure your web service works at that load? For that you need to depend on Neoload, right? It's very simple, same like you do to the browser. Show the path, choose which method you are going to load test, then give the parameters. Once that is done, right, then I am coming to the runtime, right? There's a design. Design is the place where in Neoload, again, my purpose is someone is asking, can you explain Neoload? Our purpose is not explaining Neoload here, but how to simply use Neoload to do the load testing. We will have a separate session on Neoload, how to test the web services. We will have a separate webinar. Okay. So we created a design, test this method in this web service. Now I am coming to the runtime. I am saying, okay, simulate 4 users. Each user is using 1 iteration. That means they will do 1 hit. That's all. They will come out. They are all constant. That means they are running from the beginning to the end together. Okay. Once this is done, I am going to say run. Right. Let me save this. I am going to run. Before that, I am going to show this table. F8. There is no record into the table. I am not using a browser to unit test this web service. I am creating a load scenario in Neoload. 4 users simultaneously hitting this web service, inserting record. What happens? Now I am coming back to Neoload. I run this. This one or this one? Okay. Okay. Now I am running this. Suddenly 4 hits will go to the web service, and you will see, I think entire thing is finished. You could see 4 users finishing 1 iteration. Okay. And then how many hits have gone? What has happened? What is the request time? It is giving some details. But more than that, my interest is what is the statistics, right? If you see here, for the web service request, it took 0.1 second minimum, maximum 0.3 second to respond for 4 concurrent user hits. On an average, it took only 0.265 seconds to make a call. So 4 users simultaneously hit the web service. What is the proof? I'm coming back to the database. Okay. Okay. Now I press F8. Look at this. 4 records got inserted. I never did manually anything. Tool literally called the web service simultaneously with 4 different threads and then ran this. Okay. This is fine. This is just one hit. Now what I'm going to do is one more stuff. Okay. Right now I configured this as one iteration, right? Now I am giving 5 iterations. That means 4 users will keep on inserting data again and again and again and again with the same thing, right? Let us see what happens. Now I'll just simply say 2. I'll simply say 2 iterations. If it is accepting duplicate records, what will happen? Employee code 501 will repeat again, right? Let us see whether it works that way or not. Now 4 users doing 2 iterations. That means a simple analogy is we are all going for a buffet. Okay. We decide, okay, today we need to eat 5 plates. 5 users, 5 of us go to the buffet. Hey, let us eat for 3 rounds. I go, fill the plate, come, eat, go back, fill the plate again, come, eat, go back, fill the plate, come, eat again. So 3 rounds we finished. Imagine 5 people are doing that. We are eating the 15 people's food. But 5 people are consuming the food or 15 people. Same way, I want to see if 4 users repeatedly doing again and again for 2 times, what will happen to my database, to my web service. Run it. Let us see. Once this is finished, we will go back to the database, see what happens. Okay. Here's finished. Now I go back to MySQL. Go here, F8. Look here. Obviously, this data, right? This has given only employee 10, 11, 12. First hit inserted the data. Subsequent hits, they didn't insert the data. But I want, if so many people making payments, I want to see distinct data. In that case, what you need to do is, if you want all the data to be seen, you need to go to Neoload. Okay. Here, you need to give more data. Okay. I gave only 4 data, Rajan, Ram, Muthu and James. Only these 4 data went. Okay. So now employee code 9, 10, 11, 12, these are unique, right? Now all I need to do is I need to give more data right here. If I give more data here, then obviously there is a possibility that it can insert more records. Okay. That is again a configuration. So it is up to you to manipulate more data, right? It is up to you. Now if I increase one more, let us have more data here, okay? I say EMP13, Ramu 12, EMP14, Jack 13, W, EMP15, Tom 14, EMP16, Tim 15. Okay. Okay. Now I am making for each request use different data, right? Then I click OK. Now I am going to this MySQL DB, delete these records. Let us run. Okay. Now when I go to Neoload, I come to the runtime, 4 users, 2 iterations. Now let us run. Let us see whether he is able to uniquely insert the records. Again, this is only a tool concept. All you need to do is preparing the data that you need to manipulate. That is not in the hands of, look at this. I gave 8 different data, 4 users simultaneously hitting 2 times. It inserted 8 records. Railways reservation system uses a web service to book the ticket. I want to have 10,000 concurrent reservations to happen. You need to supply 10,000 unique data. I want to mimic 1 lakh tickets. You have to give 1 lakh unique data, right? So it is up to you to create more data when you are dealing with load testing of web services, right? And now if I come back to this Neoload, it is telling me, right, the average time is 0.24 seconds for every call. So the web service, it got initiated, got the request, inserted the record, finished, and then sent back the reply within 0.247 seconds, right? This is the key. No errors came, right? So when you want to do load testing, you need better to have a tool to do the load testing part of web services. Do you like this? Can you please raise the hand if you like this? Cool. Okay, now I'm having, let me go through the questions once again to answer the questions. A few people answered that they have used Neoload before. That is very good. Neoload is not a free tool. You need to purchase it. It's simple, definitely simple. One person has asked, why are you giving 2 iterations? Because I have got 4 users. I want to insert 8 data, so I'm giving more data and more iterations. Okay, that's why I have given that. Right? So someone has asked, what are the important parameters to load test while load testing web service? Simple. All you need to know is the web service name, method name, parameters. Give more unique data, number of users, run. Check the response time. Simple. Beyond that, you don't need anything. Okay. Someone asked, is it possible through JMeter? I'm not that fan of JMeter as of now, so I cannot vouch on that. Will Neoload work with Java applications? Yes. As I said, web services, it's not dependent on the language. It will work. Okay. Yes, it can work on REST-based web services also. It's not an exception. Now, can we test web services using VSTS 2010? I'm going to show you how to test unit test web service using a code. That is the next thing. Okay, I will talk about that maybe in another 5 minutes or so. So wait for that. Again, people are asking, what is the difference between Java web service and .NET web service? To me, it's a web service. It doesn't matter except the syntax. The purpose of getting input as XML, sending or out as an XML, it is not different. Someone is asking, what is the difference between SOAP and SOAP UI? SOAP UI is a tool. SOAP is a protocol. Why people are giving web services? Because they want their application to be used by many people. You might have seen Twitter, Facebook, Salesforce.com, Amazon.com, Google+, where you can integrate your application with them. How do you integrate between yours and theirs? How do you exchange data? Typically through web service. Ultimately, if you want to exchange data between your application and another application, better to adapt to XML and web service. People are asking, can you run how to run a web service in SOAP UI? That is not the scope of this webinar. Okay, another person has asked what are the other things in OpenMentor. OpenMentor periodically conducts webinars like this, both on development and testing and current trend areas. So OpenMentor.net is a free education portal. Our sole aim is the whole world can learn for free. You can use this information strictly for educational purposes, self-learning purposes, and we encourage people learning through this site. Pass this information to other people. Someone has asked, should tester code different methods for web service testing? We will show that also. If you want to automate web service testing using a code, that we will show probably in another 5-10 minutes. Okay. So the UI through which we developed for testing web service, is it coded by a tester? No. When you call ASMX, Microsoft itself, the browser itself shows the web service methods and parameters. We didn't code that UI. The UI through which we tested the web service, it was not coded by us. Then post method is not in our scope of this one. Our aim is only on web service testing. People have asked many differences between UAT and production testing. That is again not scope of this one. Just to quickly answer that, UAT is the user acceptance test before going to production. Once UAT is accepted, then people deploy that application on production machines before end users start using. That's called production deployment testing. People asked, web service, where is HTTP coming from? Okay. Ultimately, this is going via HTTP, right? When you use this XML, it goes via HTTP. How to automate web services testing? We will show you in a few minutes. Many people are saying we are thinking that web service testing is something complex. No, as I said, this is not at all complex. It's very simple. Only thing is you need to know what is the method, what does it do, what are the parameters. As simple as that. In screens, you know the screen name, you know the screen field names. Same way, in web service testing, you need to know the method name, you need to know the parameters name. Okay. Apart from browser-based testing, we will be showing how to test through the code. Again, some people have asked what is REST. Okay. Representational state transfer. Let us not get into that, or WSDL now, because our aim is not explaining what is REST, what is SOAP, what is XML. Our aim here is to say, if you are given a web service, can you test it? How can you approach that? That's our aim over here. So does that require XML knowledge? Yes. Anyone who is getting into web service testing, you should definitely have XML knowledge. Learn XML again. All it needs is another maybe 1 to 2 hours of reading of XML and practice. People have asked, can we use any open source tools for web service testing? There are many. Again, as I said, I'm not that a fan of an open source testing tool because there are a lot of other implications that we have faced. So we use Neoload for load testing web services or web application, or use our own coding methods to do unit test automation of web services. Now,